Social media has been buzzing. Does Diddy benefit from the firing of Maurene Comey, the prosecutor in his case? And is Trump secretly backing him? Ladies and gentlemen, social media is on fire right now. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like some cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy Delray Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up button, ladies and gentlemen. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Does Sean P. Diddy Combs benefit from the firing of the prosecutor, of the head prosecutor in his case, Maurene Comey? The internet has been buzzing. And you got a lot of people saying that Trump is secretly backing Diddy, if you will, or should I say he's pro-Diddy. And like I said, we're going to get into it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to dive deep into this explosive topic because, like I said, I would say that's 2 steps away or 1 step away from a pardon, if you will. I mean, firing the prosecutor, somebody of the stature of Maurene Comey, who actually handled the Epstein case and handled the Ghislaine Maxwell case, ladies and gentlemen, in which she got 20 years. And she's currently doing 20 years. And she's actually trying to get Trump to pardon her after he called the whole Epstein thing a hoax, ladies and gentlemen. But more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. Did Sean Diddy Combs just catch a major break after the unexpected firing of federal prosecutor Maurene Comey? And is former President Donald Trump quietly in Diddy's corner, ladies and gentlemen? We know for a fact Diddy and Trump, go way back. As Trump has spoken about Diddy before and said they were close, but then somehow they drifted away when Trump, got into politics and things like that. Well, you know what? We're going to unpack this and get into some of the straight games, ladies and gentlemen. So let's unpack the politics, power, and the possibilities. I said the politics, the power, and the possibilities of what can happen. So like I said, the Comey connection. We know for a fact James Comey was the head of the FBI under Donald Trump's during Donald Trump's first term, if you will. And so there was a lot of disenchantment between Comey and Trump, investigations and things that Trump was trying to get Comey to do and not do. But Comey was a man of law, and he would not go along to get along with Trump at that particular time, and it created a lot of friction. Maurene Comey, let's recap. First, Maurene Comey isn't just a prosecutor, ladies and gentlemen. She's the daughter of the former FBI Director James Comey and was a senior trial counsel in the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office. Her track record, she helped prosecute Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and most recently, as we know, Sean P. Diddy Combs doing his federal trial. Now, just weeks after, should I say a couple of days ago, just weeks after, Diddy was acquitted of the most serious sex trafficking RICO charges and convicted only of the 2 lesser counts, right, for transportation to prostitution. Maurene Comey was suddenly fired. Now, during the case, like I said, because we covered it gavel to gavel over here during the trial by way of Inner City Press. Shout out to Inner City Press. And like I said, I felt like there was a lot of misconduct, sly misconduct. I felt like the government got away with a lot. Like I said, neither here nor there now, based on the fact that Diddy's lawyers did a great job. The government put on their best case, and they came up short, if you will. Now, since then, we heard about the Epstein thing, the Epstein files, and all of those things, and people wanting them released, mostly people in the MAGA, in the MAGA circles, if you will. And so that has spawned something different in the firing of Maurene Comey. Like I said, you can go either way with this. You can go either way. The Epstein drama, and her, basically they would say she kicked it all off by arresting him anyway. And then you can go with the Diddy connection, with his case involving something similar to the same thing, the sex trafficking and RICO situation, as well as Epstein being charged with the same thing. But more importantly, she's been fired, no matter how we want to look at it. And does the firing of her, because Diddy has his sentencing coming up on October 3rd, does the firing of Maurene Comey benefit Diddy? And it's Trump in the firing, like I said, the buck stops with the president through Pam Bondi. Does Trump secretly, or is Trump secretly in Diddy's corner? We haven't really heard anything from that. So check this out. Comey was fired. Maurene Comey was fired. No explanation. No notice. No comment from the DOJ. Just out. Just get out. You're done. We're done with you. You know what I mean? Really, really kind of odd, because usually, prosecutors, whether it's the head prosecutor, Pam Bondi, along with Maurene Comey, they usually see kind of eye to eye, if you will. Pam Bondi is like the head boss of all the prosecutors in the United States on the federal level, if you will. So, is it a coincidence? Maybe. But let's dig a little bit deeper. You know what I mean? When you think about it, right? And so my thing is, what I like to first deal with is why her firing matters for Diddy. Like I said, she was gunning for a guilty conviction, ladies and gentlemen. Maurene Comey was gunning for a guilty conviction. And so, but why her firing matters for Diddy. Like I said, if you know federal cases, continuity matters. So continuity in federal cases, it really matters. The prosecutors knows the files, the witnesses, the strategy. Comey being gone before sentencing is a huge break for Diddy, right? And here's why. She was reportedly pushing for a sentence of 51 to 63 months. That's number one, right? Diddy's team is lobbying for 21 to 27 months, the low end of the guidelines. Number two, right? Her absence could delay sentencing strategy, impact appeals, or open room for negotiation with less aggressive prosecutors. Now, that was my theory. You know what I mean? My theory was that, now that she's gone, like these other prosecutors could be like, you know what? We don't really care what happens. Now, I wouldn't really say it like that they wouldn't really care what happens. But you know what? He got found not guilty. First time offender. Yeah, this was that was this. And I think this is just my personal opinion on this. I think Maurene Comey was kind of gung-ho that she had got Epstein. And she had got Ghislaine Maxwell, right? And so she was going after Diddy. And then after that, it was going to be Kanye West. Because the reason why I said that is because Kanye West has a civil case in court right now where they're using that same language, right? All it takes is a settlement. Because if Kanye would have settled the case that he's got right now in court, they would have took that case and pattered in right after Diddy if Diddy would have been found guilty. The fact that Diddy wasn't found guilty, it kind of like stunted their growth as far as them growing a case against Kanye West. Most people don't know that. Like I said, if you hadn't read the case files for the Kanye West situation, yeah, that's what it is, right? And also, like I said, her absence could delay sentencing strategy, impact appeals, or open room for negotiation with less aggressive prosecutors. All of that could be in the play. I really don't think so on that. I think like some of the prosecutors in the prosecutor's office now, they're probably mad. Or they probably scared. You know what I mean? But the shaking of that bush with the firing of Maurene Comey has everybody on alert for sure. You can believe that. Everybody's on alert. And so with that being said, that's very important. And let's be honest. A fractured U.S. Attorney's Office can't fight as hard when they're dealing with internal chaos, right? There's some camaraderie that's needed in order for things to move forward like they're supposed to, right? It's a legal gift for any high-powered defendant when the prosecution's office has internal chaos. So, is it a gift for Diddy or not? Will it change the judge's perspective because he also has to be thinking about this situation and saying, hey, if I go too hard on him, Trump just gonna pardon him anyway. You know, it's the guy's first offense. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, all of this posturing about, you know, these cases that are similar to Diddy's and so on and so forth. Like I said, once again, the judge has full discretion and he can do what he wants. But like I said, this firing of Maurene Comey definitely puts everybody on notice, ladies and gentlemen. It puts everybody on notice. So if you were a prosecutor and you worked on the Diddy case, the judge, and everybody else, it just puts everybody on notice. Like the judge say, you know, hey, if I give him this much time, then Trump will just pardon. He don't care. You know what I mean? There you have it. It's a done deal. Diddy's home, you know? So is Trump pro-Diddy? Ladies and gentlemen, tell me in the comments what you guys think. Is Trump pro-Diddy? Does this really benefit Diddy and some of the, as far as some of the examples that I just gave you? Now, here's where things get really interesting, though, right? Trump and James Comey, longtime enemies. Trump fired Comey, a senior, in 2017. So this is a double whammy. Trump fired her father in 2017, and now Trump, or should I say Pam Bondi, under Trump's administration, has fired his daughter in 2025. Wow. Right? So that makes this situation that much more interesting, right? So Trump and James Comey, longtime enemies. Like I said, Trump fired him in 2017. And Trump allies have long targeted Maurene Comey for her role in the Epstein and the Maxwell prosecution, right? And we know that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were friends, right? How close they were, don't know. Seen pictures, seen video. They knew each other and they were pretty cool with each other, right? I won't speculate on how cool they were, or how good of friends they were, but we know for a fact that they knew each other and that they were friends, right? And so, like I said, Trump allies have long targeted Maurene Comey for her role in the Epstein and Maxwell prosecutions. You know, right-wing influences like Laura Loomer even pressured Pam Bondi and the DOJ to remove Maurene Comey. Like I said, you know, Laura Loomer, you know, she has, it seems like, you know, from a lot of news reports and what I've seen, she has Donald Trump's ear from that perspective. So, like I said, and it finally happened. You know what I mean? Maurene Comey was fired. Like I said, and here's the catch, right? Here's the catch. Pam Bondi is Trump's ally, right? And Bondi helped push back on releasing Epstein's related files just recently. For whatever reason, like I said, Pam Bondi and Donald Trump are allies. You know, like I said, as she's the head of the DOJ. So like I said, this is very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. So look, so if Maurene Comey was the last legal gatekeeper pushing for deeper exposure of Epstein's ties, right? You know, and that has to be looked at too. We can't overlook that. Were they thinking that? Like, you know, Maurene Comey still being in the prosecution's office? Could she, you know, get her hands on some papers? Has she seen the list? Or, you know, they're saying there's no list. You know what I mean? She was a clear and present danger, I think, that they saw, or Trump saw, or Pam Bondi saw, you know, through the administration. So she had to go. She had to go. But like I said, was she pushing for deeper exposure of Epstein's ties? And if her firing benefits Diddy, the question has to be asked. The question really has to be asked. Like I said, if her firing benefits Diddy, the question has to be asked. Is Trump's DOJ helping Diddy, whether directly or indirectly? Chime down in the comments and tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, is Trump's DOJ helping Diddy directly or indirectly? It may not be support out of friendship, ladies and gentlemen. It might not be that, you know what I mean? Like I said, things can happen all different kinds of ways, right? It could be a political chess, right? For the people who are not as savvy and don't understand that, it doesn't have to be just because, you know, somebody is somebody's friend or they're cool with somebody, right? It could be political chess. You know, Trump wants Comey gone, and Diddy just happens to benefit. Point blank, right? Or Diddy, it could look like, well, you know what? She didn't do a good job in the Diddy case, fire her. You know what I mean? But then be related to the Epstein situation. So it kind of, you know, muddies the water a little bit. It could be either or, right? Plus, let's not forget, Diddy was never a loud anti-Trump voice, unlike many in entertainment. Like I said, Trump said something about Diddy, you know, not supporting him really when he got into politics. But when, you know, he wasn't in politics, him and Diddy was cool. As a matter of fact, a couple of those freak-offs were actually at Trump Hotel, Plaza, at the Plaza Hotel in New York City, ladies and gentlemen. I believe the guy over there on the Art of Dialogue, Clayton Howard, he was talking about one of those freak-offs that he was involved in, was at the Trump, back then. So, and like I said, Diddy and Trump did have a relationship. So now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, you know, as we've seen on the internet, and I've told you guys before, Tisa Tells is already going viral, right? She's blasting Comey's firing, calling it part of a massive cover-up, and claiming Diddy's ties to Epstein are being buried. But here's the truth. Here's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. There's no public evidence linking Diddy to Epstein. None. Zero. Zero, ladies and gentlemen. So, like I said, when we talk about the big picture, ladies and gentlemen, tell me down in the comments, does this benefit Diddy? Because right now, he's the person, Ghislaine Maxwell, she has 20 years already. Epstein, he's dead. He committed suicide, allegedly committed suicide. And Diddy is awaiting his sentencing for the two charges that he has, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, once again, Donald Trump being under the scrutiny of the Justice Department and all of those things during the situation that he had and was found guilty of, right? You can see how he probably views this, and just the stories and the news stories that have been popping up lately in regards to Jeffrey Epstein and their relationship and what it was all about. So like I said, this is going to get interesting as the days go by. But like I said, tell me what you guys think. Chime in. I mean, like I said, because your opinion matters. And I definitely want to know what you think about it from that perspective. So whether you love Diddy or believe he should face more time, the fact remains, this Comey firing changes the game. It changes the game. I don't know how much, right? Her removal shakes the structure of the prosecution and gives Diddy's defense new ammunition, if you will, right? Is this justice being manipulated or just politics as usual? Tell me what it is. Is this justice being manipulated or politics as usual, right? One thing is certain, the story is not over. It's definitely not over, right? Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think. Is Trump helping Diddy in the shadows, or is it just another wild coincidence, ladies and gentlemen? Like I said, your boy Delray here. I appreciate you guys for tuning in with me. And you know how it goes. Your boy Delray, straight gang.
Life is like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. remember they used to laugh at a brother